Unit 7. True Friends. Let us read and find out if the two best friends, Abhinav and Saurav, have been able to unwind and rejuvenate themselves after a retreat in nature. This is a story about two friends who lived in Pune named Abhinav and Saurav. They were each other's favorite and really enjoyed time spent together. One fine morning, they decided to go to the forest for a walk, since both were tired of the hectic life of the city. Abhinav said, "Let us go to the teak forest, Saurav. I don't like the life of the city anymore and want to take a break from the daily routine. There we can forget the things that disturb us the most. We can be close to nature. We can see the rising sun, flowers blooming, and butterflies flitting around the flowers for nectar, and can even lie on the moss-covered ground." "That's a wonderful idea," said Saurav. "I too am tired. The forest is the perfect place to rest." Excited with the idea of spending a day in the forest, they started their journey crossing the meandering roads, their eyes craving to get a glimpse of the distant treetops. Their hearts beat fast as they drew closer to the woods. Abhinav said, "It has been more than a month since I have been working on my books and could not relax even for a single minute. My head is overoccupied with so many streams of knowledge and intellectual thoughts that I am afraid it will burst one day." Saurav said sadly, "I have worked like a bondsman at my counter and didn't get any appreciation for it. I too found working there as boring and dull as you found your books. My boss is very unkind to me. Today I am feeling so good that at least for a day I could get away from the boss." Abhinav and Saurav reached the border of the copse, crossed a little stream, and walked among the trees and shrubs. Both the friends walked for hours together and were so happy to be in the midst of nature, which had a rhythm of its own. The water that flowed in the stream suddenly seemed to rush by as the path narrowed, and the gentle stream transformed into a gushing brook, tumbling over smoothened rocks, cascading in bubbly froth as it meandered and fell gently to a lower level to once again flow in a gentle cadence, much like their own lives, they thought. Saurav was quick to observe, "That rock is like my boss, an impediment, but the water just flowed anyway. Look at the flurry with which the water flowed, hastening its pace and then falling below. It seems to me that the rocks brought about a change of pace and adventure," quipped Abhinav. Saurav reflected on this as he said,
"It is true, isn't it, that everybody has a path set out for them, but there may be so many difficulties on the way. We have to continue and will come out stronger and more energized, overcoming all the challenges. We have only to observe nature, and we find so many answers to questions that nag us," added Abhinav. Abhinav and Saurav just walked along the banks of the stream, enjoying the peaceful sounds of birds chirping, the wind blowing, the rustling leaves, the flowing water, and ever so many other sounds of the forest. What seemed like silence was now coming alive with so many sounds that they were becoming aware of. Abhinav suggested, "Let us sit down on the rocks. We can wade through the water where it is shallow. It is the coolest spot in the whole grave." They stepped into the cool water with a soft mound of earth and pebbles under their feet. They walked gingerly till they reached the rounded rocks and perched themselves atop. The view was magnificent. On the one side, the water seemed to be gushing towards them and turning to the other side. They felt as if they were moving along with the stream. Little fish seemed to be circling around the base of the rock. A family of frogs was hopping in and out of the water. The scene was teeming with life. So much to see and so much to feel. This was the best time of the day. Both the friends enjoyed each other's company and were silently taking in all the wondrous life around them. They waded back to the banks and walked barefoot till their feet had dried off. The earth was soft, and as they moved towards the wooded area, the fallen leaves felt like a carpet beneath their feet. They began talking about all the goals and objectives they wished to achieve. Suddenly, everything seemed easier. As they observed the hurried pace of ants scurrying from a fallen fruit to an anthill, Saurav lay down along the mossy tree roots to take a better look and said, "Look how driven they seem." Abhinav joined him. Lying down seemed like a good idea to him. As they looked at the ants, they got a clear sight of them in the shaft of sunlight that streamed through the dense canopy. The ants moved in a single file, each carrying tiny bits of food. So busy they were, totally undisturbed by the two onlookers who were peering so closely. "Tomorrow, when I wake up to go to work, I will remember these industrial little fellows," said Saurav. And Abhinav nodded his head in agreement and said, "And that tough taskmaster of yours will also get smoothened in time, like the rock in the stream." The setting sun had painted the sky in hues of pink and purple. The two friends sat down to wear their shoes. They felt completely refreshed, and as they headed back to the city, they eagerly waited for the next day. It did not seem boring. They had learned so much from the forest. And yes, they would come back again to explore the forests and its ever so many amazing gifts.